Hey guys, Skinny Captain America Steven Smelanich here to talk to you about something that I never thought I would talk about in a million years, reality TV. Reality TV blurs the line between the authentic and the artificial, convincing audiences that performance is reality. This phenomenon reshapes public perception, making even real-world interactions feel scripted and performative. Reality is dead, and shows like The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives have killed it.
I love the Mormon church, but there are a lot of rules that we have to follow. We were raised to be these housewives for the men, serving their every desires. Have kids by the time you're 21, or in my case, at 16. Well, I'm like this. Show me what you're working with. Show me.
If you don't want reality distorted, but have it preserved in all of its glorious imperfections, then consider checking out the sponsor of this video, Kinflix. Kinflix is the #1 personalized home video streaming service that allows users to easily stitch their videos as 1 hour-long unbroken reel to share with the whole family, and even your friends. Download the app from the App Store to get started today. Links are in the description. Now, back to the show. The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is a reality television series that premiered on Hulu on September 6, 2024. The show follows a group of 8 Utah-based TikTok influencers, collectively known as Mom Talk, as they navigate personal and professional challenges within their Mormon communities. The series opens with a scandal revealed by Taylor Frankie Paul involving soft swinging, which of course then turned into hard swinging, and her disclosure about engaging in non-penetrative sexual activities with other Mormon couples led to her divorce and strained relationships within the group. One of the women decided to exile herself to Hawaii until all of them were contacted by Hulu to come back together to make reality TV a reality. We live in a society so obsessed with itself, and even more so with how that self is performed, no one truly wants to show their own face, nor does the audience want to see it. For fear of offending or appearing as something that we don't want to be, we wear masks. When people are put on a reality TV show, especially ones documenting their day-to-day lives, like the Kardashians, the masks only continue to pile on. We are left questioning what their real selves are, or if their self even exists. To quote my boy, the 19th century German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche, "No one any longer dares to show his person, but masks himself as a cultured man, a scholar, a poet, a politician." If someone wants to seem to be something stubbornly and for a long time, he or she eventually finds it hard to be anything else. This seems especially prevalent among young women who are under constant pressure to look as perfectly beautiful as they can to attract the attention of the opposite sex, and by extension, the world at large. This pressure might drive them to refuse to even eat an apple for fear of how it might make them look, despite the obvious health benefits. Biographical movies and documentaries, while performative, wearing masks in their own right, creating hyper-real realities, do not change the real-world events they depict. Reality TV, on the other hand, transforms reality into hyper-reality as history is happening. This manipulation of the present distorts history, causing future audiences to perceive reality TV events as more authentic than they actually were. Reality TV falsehoods through direction, editing, cliffhangers, build-up, and even set design warp the way we view these Mormon wives, and by extension, Mormon women in general. In the first episode, when one of the wives confronts her husband about his pornography and Tinder usage, my bachelor's degree in film quickly kicked in. I couldn't help but feel the director subtly directing their movements to move from one area to the other in a moment of drama, and to where to sit on the couch and when the husband should weep. A moment that might not have happened otherwise were it not for reality TV. In his work, Simulacra and Simulation, Jean Baudrillard, the French sociologist and philosopher, argues that in our media-saturated society, representations have become more real than reality itself, a concept he dubs hyperreality. Reality TV is a prime example of this, blurring the line between the authentic and the artificial until we're left questioning, what's genuine? Think of Inception, when at the end of the movie, when the top doesn't topple, we are left wondering, is Leonardo DiCaprio still dreaming or not? Reality becomes what Baudrillard terms the desert of the real, where, exactly as the term suggests, after spending some time in hyperreality, when we do finally return to reality, we find it just a barren desert in comparison. Much like spending a year in the lush landscape of Japan, only to return to Utah and find it a desert. Oh wait, Utah's always been a desert. As for the simulacrum, Baudrillard describes it as a copy without an original, a representation that becomes its own reality. Reality TV fits this bill perfectly. It presents us with a version of life that's edited, manipulated, and staged, yet we consume it as if it's genuine. Over time, these portrayals shape our perceptions and expectations, leading us to mimic the very simulations we once recognized as artificial. It's a feedback loop of fakeness, and we're all caught up in it. According to Joseph Campbell, the man who literally created the blueprint for Star Wars with his book, The Hero with a Thousand Faces, the reason why the hero's journey keeps repeating throughout all cultures is a collective unconscious need to create meaning and order out of chaos. We see such themes repeated in the show, where Taylor and the other Mormon wives go on journeys of self-discovery and ultimately redemption, with clear villains and heroes in each episode. The Mormon wives themselves are divided into categories of good and bad, saints and sinners, as shown by this poster, despite in reality most likely not easily falling into such simple categories. Now let's take a look at the message the show wants to showcase as one of rebellion. The title, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, might suggest to the audience that there is a whole group of women leading secretive, glamorous rebellion against the patriarchal system known as the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. In reality, most Mormon women lead lives that are neither secretive nor particularly dramatic, but boring and mundane. Despite the patriarchal systems in the church, it is interesting to consider how the ultimate example of rebellion from Mormon doctrine is a woman, specifically Eve, who we call the first woman, a doctrine unique to the church. While most Christian churches say that Eve's rebellion in the garden was an absolutely terrible thing, a belief that has led many to conclude that women are less than men, which snowballed into the witch trials, Mormons praise Eve's rebellion. As they have her saying in the Book of Moses, "Were it not for our transgression, we never should have had seed, and never should have known good and evil, and the joy of our redemption, and the eternal life which God giveth unto all the obedient." Indeed, it seems like God wanted Eve to rebel against him and the commandment not to eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Whereas Eve's rebellion was for the sake of knowledge and progression, theirs feels more like rebellion for simple rebellion's sake. There's no meaning in it. For example, they talk about how church leaders don't say this or that, so it must be okay to do it. Breast implants or plastic surgery. They use this loophole rebellion for laughing gas despite the scientific neurological harm that comes from abusing such gas. We might ask, are they operating under moral agency or still caught up in a system that dictates their choices? According to the French philosopher of the absurd, Albert Camus, before we rebel, we need to understand why the laws we want to rebel against are there. As he wrote, "Absolute domination by the law does not represent liberty, but no more does absolute anarchy." For example, if you want to go and rebel against gravity, you can't just jump off a cliff and expect to defy it. You need to do it in an airplane. Camus champions rebellion grounded in understanding and purpose rather than defiance for its own sake. Consider rebellion as an answer to the absurdity and deterministic nature of life. As he famously wrote, "The only way to deal with an unfree world is to become so absolutely free that your very existence is an act of rebellion." Ultimately, it should all come down to thinking for oneself and then acting. The church leaders themselves don't always want you to just rely on what they say, but to use personal judgment. As the Mormon first counselor in the first presidency, President Dallin H. Oaks, taught, we are often left to work out problems without the dictation or specific direction of the Spirit. The Book of Mormon again and again repeats how kings are a problem, righteous or not. The church or reality TV. They often become the last word on all matters. so all become subject to them and become oppressed. As the ever-righteous Alma the Elder, after rejecting kingship, tells us in Mosiah 23:13, trust no man to be king over you. Conclusion. The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is an atrocious show that attempts but utterly fails to portray realistic lives of Mormon women. It also fails horribly in its message of rebellion, teaching rebellion only for rebellion's sake, instead of real and meaningful rebellion. Now I need therapy after watching and talking about such a terrible show. Thank you for watching to the end. If you enjoyed this analysis, please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment below with your thoughts. What systems of oppression are you under, and how will you rebel against them? And also be sure to check out my book on Amazon, Latter-day Saints Are Existentialists. And for more insights on my views of rebellion, be sure to check the videos that are showing up on screen now. And remember to keep it righteous.